Hello student, today we are starting our chapter number 8, that is database security. In this chapter we will cover some topics like database security, the difference between security versus integrity, authentication versus authorization, data encryption, access control. There are three types of access control, that are discretionary access control, MAC mandatory access control, RBAC model, intrusion detection, and SQL injection. So first of all, what is exactly the database security is? So database security is the protection of the data from unauthorized user, because as we know, if we are working with a relational database management system, so various user can interact with our real database, so it is mandatory to protect our data from unauthorized user. Only the authorized user are allowed to access the data. Most of the users are allowed to access the part of the data, like data that is related to them or related to their department. Suppose if we deal with some big organization, so they have a different department like a production, sales, marketing. Okay, so the marketing department only get the access of that marketing data. Production department only get the data that is related to the production. Okay, so we are not allowing all the people to access all the data. We are just allowing that particular group of user or a particular user to some part of that data. Mostly the database administrator or the head of the department can access all the data into the database, and all other users can access their data department wise or its individual related data. Some users may be permitted only to retrieve the data, whereas other are allowed to retrieve as well as to update data. Suppose we are allowing some group of user to retrieve only data, they are not able to or they cannot change any data, and so in some another department or some in another group, we are allowing user to access the data as well as we are allowing to update the data. Now we have a security versus integrity. Now what is exactly the security is? Security means data security deals with the protection of the data, and data integrity deals with the validity or validation of the data. Suppose if we are deal with the data integrity, so suppose we have a one database field in our table that is namely as a mobile number. So as we know, mobile number should be a digit, and suppose one user want to enter some character data on that particular mobile field, okay, so it is not valid. So integrity is just kind of a checking of the data before they are entered into the particular field of the database table. And data security deal with the protection of data. So once the data is stored in particular table, we have to protect that data from unauthorized access. Data security is making sure that only the people who should have access to the data are the only ones who can access the data. So data security is generally deal with the particular user or a group of a user where we are allow that particular user to access some data, while data integrity making sure that the data is correct and not corrupt. While data security avoids from the unauthorized access of the data, because we are not allowing unauthorized user to access the particular database. So data integrity avoids from human errors when the data is entered. So data integrity is generally deal with the error of that data or particular data type of that particular field. Data security is implemented through user account and password. Data integrity security is implemented through the user account and password, while data integrity is implemented through constraints such as the primary key, foreign key, and check constraint. Next we have authentication versus authorization. So what is access authentication and authorization? Let's start. Authentication and authorization. Authentication is the process of validating a user on the credential, username, and password, while authorization, it is the process of verifying whether access is allowed or not. Here authentication means Suppose we are allowing particular user to accessing the production data of that particular organization. So in order to access that data, that particular user have to enter username and password. But authorization is deal with that whether we are allowing that particular user to access some production data or not. Suppose we have a particular user have got a successful login by using username and password, but whether that user is valid to access the particular part of that data or not. Okay, so that thing is known as a authorization. Logging onto the PC or some website or app with a username and password is what? It is authentication. And accessing a file from the hard disk or some database is authorization. So it is the process of viewing who you are, and it is the process of viewing what you are authorized to do or not to do. So if particular user have successfully entered by using username and password, then after the authorization process is start. The authorization process is checking that particular user who is currently logged in has access to that particular part of that data or not. It is providing integrity control and security to that data, and it is protecting the data to ensure privacy and access control to the data. Now we have a next topic, that is audit trail, or alternatively it is known as a audit log. And log is something, a file which contains the data related to whatever the particular transaction is doing or whatever the particular the system is doing with a particular data. The audit trail is a record which will generate for each and every transaction. So audit trail is generated for each and every transaction in the sense of whatever the query that we are implementing, like a select star from the student, select star from the customer, or something like that. It will keep certain information about the transaction. So it will keep the information that is related to the transaction. Suppose we have some query like insert query. So in insert query, which table is affected, how many data is inserted, and how many record how many inserted by using that particular query. An audit trail record keeps this following things into the file when particular transaction is executed. Who information contains what information? User or the application program and the transaction number. So suppose by a particular, suppose we are using a Facebook, and by Facebook suppose we are uploading some photos. So if we think that to upload a photo is something like a query, okay, so which user, okay, which user have uploaded that photo, then which transaction, and by user or application. So whether you have uploaded that particular your photo by using mobile app or a particular website, and user, that means it is the information related to your username. When, so at which time you have uploaded that particular photo, that date and time. From where, the location of the user or the terminal. What, so identification of the data affected, as well as before and after image of that portion of that database that was affected by then an update operation. So this is the, it was a audit trail. Now we have a data encryption, section number 4. So what is the data encryption? Encryption is the security method in which information is encoded in such a way that only authorized user can read or understand it. It uses encryption algorithm to generate a ciphertext that can only allow to read that if it is decrypted. Here we have a sender and here receiver. Here some unauthorized user, it is like a hacker or something like that. Okay, so here the sender is sending a message hello to the receiver. Here what exactly data encryption technique is doing, or what exactly the encryption algorithm is doing. Here the sender have sent the message hello to the receiver, but before sending this hello message, that encryption algorithm changed that hello message to some random text. This is known as random or encrypted text is known as a hypertext, and our actual message is known as a plain text. Here the plain text is converted into the ciphertext by using the encryption method. But remember one thing, when we are encrypting this data, we are providing some key, and by using this key, that particular receiver can decrypt that particular ciphertext into the plain text. So suppose we have a ciphertext message, but we don't have a key, so we are not able to read that particular message. So here unauthorized user want to access the data that is sent by sender before the receiver read it. So here it cannot read here, because we have converted our hello message to some ciphertext before sending to the particular user. So here should not access or cannot understand, because here hello message is written like a KHOOR. Okay, so here that particular unauthorized user don't have a encryption algorithm or a particular key to read this message. So even after reading this message, it cannot understand what sender is sending to the receiver. But here receiver got the ciphertext, and it have a decryption algorithm and the key by which it can successfully read the message that is sent by the sender. So here the sender have sent the hello message, and here receiver get the hello message. So here the message that is sent by the sender, it only accessed by the key and that particular encryption algorithm. So this is the data, all about the data encryption. So data encryption is the process of encoding or translating a message or information in such a way that only authorized person can access it, and those who are not authorized cannot read that message. And encryption is the process of translating plain text into the something that appears to be meaningless ciphertext. So ciphertext cannot be in such a meaningful way, because here in the previous example the sender sent the hello, but it is encoded by some random ciphertext. Decryption is the process of converting a ciphertext back into the plain text, so the receiver can successfully read that particular message by the decryption algorithm. Type of the encryption is symmetric key encryption, that is private key encryption, and asymmetric key encryption, that is a public key encryption. So by using this key, we are able to decrypt the actual message sent by the sender. So here we are start with the types of the encryption, what exactly happened into the symmetric key encryption and asymmetric key encryption. In symmetric key encryption, encryption and decryption keys are the same. So here suppose key is 1 2 3, so at the receiver side the key are same. So the same key is used by the sender to encrypt the data, and again by the receiver to decrypt that data. Symmetric key encryption is faster in execution with compared to the asymmetric. So asymmetric key encryption, so encryption and decryption keys are different, public key and private key. So suppose here sender using the key 1 2 3, so at receiver side it may be different. So messages are encrypted by sender with one key, that is known as a public key, and can be decrypted by the receiver only by the other key, that is private key. Asymmetric key encryption is slow in execution due to the high computational burden is required for encryption and decryption of the message. Next topic, section 5, is access control. methods. So which are the access control methods? Here we have basically 3 access methods or access control method. Discretionary access method, that is known as a DAC, mandatory access control, that is known as a MAC, and role based access control, that is known as a RBAC. In discretionary access method, or a DAC, the owner of the object specify or decide which subject or a user can access the object. In this method, a single user can have different right on the different object, as well as the different user can have a different right on the same object. Here we have a student, and here we have a head of the department. Here they all can interact with the student table. So here student can read and partial table, only one tuple can be read. Here a partial rights, here the partial table 2 or 1 tuple can be read. So if the user is faculty, so it may be read 1 or 2 or more tuple, 1 or 2 tuples. Here we have only student, so it can read, and it can read only one tuple that is associated with that particular student. Here we have a coordinator. So here coordinator have a rights of read and write. That means we are allowing full rights to the coordinator. So the partial table, it can change 1, 2 or 1 tuples. Here we have a head of the department. We are providing a access, read and write, and a full rights. So on entire table 3 tuples. So here basically we have 3 tuples. The head of the department can access all the tuples. However, coordinator, we are allowing to read and write full rights, but it can only allow to work with only 1 or 2 tuples. So it is known as a discretionary access control. In discretionary access control, owner of the object specify to decide which user can access which type of the objects. Second method, we have a discretionary access control. So SQL support discretionary access control through the grant and revoke command. So we are continuing with a discretionary access control, but how we can provide that access control? So grant and revoke. So grant is allow that particular user to access such kind of such a tuple or a table by which he or she can work on that particular data. So this command gives the rights to the user for an object. So syntax to provide the discretionary access control: grant, that is the reserve keyword, privilege on object to the particular user with a grant options. And suppose we would like to revoke, or suppose we are not allowing whatever the privileges we have granted that particular user, so it is recovered by the revoke object or revoke command. So this command takes back rights from the user for an object. So syntax is revoke, privileges on object from user, restrict and cascade. So grant and revoke command is generally used to provide the right to the particular user on particular object. Second access control method is mandatory access control. In this method, individual user cannot get a right. So in mandatory access control, we are not giving a rights to the particular or individual user, but all the users as well as all the objects are classified into a different category. So here we have a top secret, users secret, confidential and unclassified. So each user is assigned a clearance level and each object is assigned the security level. A user can access object of a particular security level only if he has a proper clearance of that level. The DBMS determines whether the given user can read or write a given object based on some rule. So this rule makes sure that the sensitive data can never be passed to a user without necessary clearance. In mandatory access control technique for a multi-level security uses a four component subjects. So such as an user's accounts and program. Objects are such a relation or a table, record or a column and a view. Clearance level such as a top secret, secret, confidential, unclassified, and each subject is classified into one of these four classes. So here the subject is belongs to the one of this one particular clearance level. It may be a top secret, confidential, or unclassified. Security level, so such as a top secret, secret, confidential, unclassified. Each object is classified into one of four classes. So here the object should be belongs to this one of from this four category. So in the above system, TS, S, C and U, where TSS means class TS object is more sensitive than the class S object. So here the means the class TS object, so TS is more sensitive than the class object S. So a user can access data by following two rules: security property and star security property. The security property states that such subject at a given security level may not read object at a higher security level, and the star property states that the subject at a given security level may not write to any object at the lower security level. Last we have a role-based access control rules. So in role-based access control rules, what exactly happen? So it restricts the database access based on the person's role within the organization. The role in the role-based access control refer to the level of the access that employee have to the network. Employees are only allowed to access the information necessary to effectively perform their job duties, and access can be based on the several factors such as the authority, responsibility and the job competency. So in addition, access to a computer resource can be limited to a specific task such as the ability to view, create or modify the particular data or a file. So lower level employees usually do not have access to the sensitive data if they do not need to fulfill their responsibility. So using the role-based access control method, it will help in the securing your company's sensitive data and important application from the unauthorized user. Next we have a intrusion detection. So what is exactly the intrusion detection is? So an intrusion detection system is a system or a software application that monitors the network traffic or a system for a suspicious activity or a policy violations and issue alert when such activity is discovered. So if the activity like network traffic or a suspicious activity or a policy violation, okay, it's identified that by using the particular software, then it alert that user for that particular intrusion information is detected. It is a software application that scan a network or a system for a harmful activity or a policy breaching. Any malicious venture or a violation is the normal reported either to an administrator or collected centrally using the security information by using the event management system. SIEM, that is security information and event management, integrate the output from the multiple sources and uses alarm filtering technique to differentiate malicious activity from the false alarm. And last we have the topic of SQL injection. So what is exactly the SQL injection is? So in SQL injection, also known as a SQL. It is a common attack vector that uses malicious SQL code for a backend database manipulation to access the information that was not intended to be displayed. This information may include any number of items, including sensitive company data, user list, or a private customer details. A successful attack may result in the unauthorized viewing of a user list, the deletion of entire table, gaining administrative right to the database, and all of which are highly determined to the business level. So here, after completing SQL injection, we are completing our chapter number 8, database security. Here the list of the important question from this chapter that asked in previous some GTU exams. Explain the authorization and access control in the brief. What is the difference between data security and data integrity? What is constraint? Explain the type of constructs. Thank you.